I think we all died during COVID, and this is our punishment. Mass purgatory. And a super tall tree captured it.
What you think about?
Hey, you probably get it down.
When you're born into a fight.
I'm glad you started with a cheap one. I know a guy that bought like a $700 drone and then somehow crashed it into the, I was going to say the river because we live beside, but the lake like 2 days later.
They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. Our brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves. We won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, hate is face
Are we sure we're even alive? Prove it.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome everyone. I'm Will Bird. This is the Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you for joining us. I actually got some work done around the campground today. Mucked out a bathroom, ripped down some drywall and other what was left of like the 2 bathrooms by the office. Got those cleaned out. I guess it's now time to look towards rebuilding. But I felt good. I got some stuff done today. Hey, what does an NNN lease term mean? Anybody work in real estate or business real estate, I guess? Triple N, triple nets. The tenant pays the base rate plus all property operating expenses, including property taxes, insurance, and maintenance in addition to the base rent. Oh. The triple nets. Net, I guess. Nyak. Like Bert says. All right, guys. The first video, I feel bad, okay? I stumbled upon a video, and it was interesting to me. But now, I feel bad if I don't share it with you guys. So, give me a second to pull it up. Maybe it's like over-exaggerated. Maybe it's overstated. Maybe this isn't actually going to happen. But if it does happen and I don't share it with you, I would feel very shitty. So I'm gonna share it with you. If you don't believe it, fuck it, don't believe it, whatever. But damn, there seems to be a chance. So let's check out this video over on TikTok. Why does it keep copying everything? I didn't need that. I need this. Copy, posts, boom. Let's try that one.
About 36 hours ago, I posted.
This is Speaker Stevie Sabold. Speaker Steve Sabold. All right, so check out this video. I'll make sure you got audio. Maybe it's overstated, over-exaggerated. Maybe, I don't know. But here's some advice.
About 36 hours
for the next
ago,
few
I posted
weeks,
a video
months,
America's
years.
headed into recession. A few hours later, the Wall Street Journal came out with a full-page article saying we're headed into recession. CNBC backed it up yesterday. This is becoming mainstream. I didn't really know how fast this was going to gain traction, but I knew we were very, very close. Okay. Yesterday, the market was down 850. Today, right now, it's down about 700 points. Just a few hours ago, Trump has threatened Canada with more pain than we've ever inflicted on our best friend and neighbor, Canada. This is becoming faster and faster. This is going to happen. Okay, 1.5 million of you have watched this video since I posted it 36 hours ago, and I know a lot of you guys are afraid, okay? And I'm sorry about that, but you should be afraid. Trump is unhinged, okay? I've known him half my life. He's a sociopath. He has no empathy for other people. He doesn't feel anyone else's pain. And he's the most powerful man and one of the richest people in the world now. And so he doesn't feel grocery store pain or any other pain or like that. He's just going to keep going forward. I wouldn't be surprised if we sent troops into Canada. Our best friend. Okay, all right, so what do? Let's get down to it. Here's what we have to do, guys. We have to outlast this guy. That's it, okay? Yeah.
By the way, I saw his bullshit. I saw his bullshit about taxes, eliminating taxes on people that earn less than 150K, right? That was a quote coming from the Trump team. He says he's going to offset so we don't spiral into national debt. First of all, one thing is if we don't pay taxes anybody makes under 150K, we're not going to be concerned at all with what the wealthy are paying in taxes. First of all, right? Like if you have no taxes, they're going to say, well, you don't pay anything. How can you have an opinion about what the billionaires pay? You don't pay anything. You don't even pay taxes, right? That's one thing. Two, he claims that he's going to keep us from spiraling into exponential national debt by tariffs. We've already established who pays the tariffs. So yeah, okay, let's say we do away with anybody paying taxes under 150K. When you go to the store and things that used to be $10 are now $120, did you save anything? Did you save anything? He's not going to be able to. I mean, it seems like something unhinged he would do. It's not going to be beneficial for the country. It's not going to be beneficial. It's only going to hurt everything else.
Yeah, the GOP is a mess. There's a bunch of cowards in there that won't stand up to the bully Trump. I get it. You're right about that. Okay. But Trump is the lightning rod. He is the sociopath. Okay. They're just a bunch of cowards, the other people. But Trump is the sociopath. We have to outlast this guy. All right. What do you do? I've written 4 books on money. I have some suggestions for you. I hope you'll consider them as you go forward. Okay.
I feel like the first administration, these are tips if you believe like we're headed towards a recession. It seems like we might be on the brink of recession. A lot of people writing articles about it. We just came in and out of the shortest recession in U.S. history through the COVID thing, which was fucking amazing, right? Not to mention we eliminated like fucking 90% of childhood poverty at one point. Or cut in half 90% of childhood poverty. The next recession won't be like that. The next recession, I'm not saying that Joe Biden just fixed the recession, right? I'm saying that everything lined up. I think a lot of things were done really well. I think a lot of circumstances were already in place because it was caused by COVID and we knew all this stuff was coming back and people wanted to be optimistic when they came out of lockdowns and got jobs and came back to real life. People wanted to be optimistic. They wanted to spend money. They wanted to get out there and do that. I think a lot of things lined up to make, I don't think any other recession will ever be like that. That was insane. Not to mention with Trump at the helm, how much worse it can get, right? It could be incredibly bad. So here's some tips if you want to survive. If you think there's a recession coming and you want to survive, even if you don't think there's a recession coming and you just want to be ahead of the game, and the recession never happens, the worst that you've done is, padded your savings account.
Hey, please build an emergency fund. I want you to build the biggest emergency fund that you can. Ideally 12 months, okay, of money. So if you make $50,000 a year, you need a $50,000 emergency fund. If you make $100,000 a year, et cetera, you need $100,000. Now, if you're sitting there saying, Steve, I think that's great, but I can't, how am I going to possibly do that? I don't know. I'm talking to 1.5 million people, so everyone's different, okay? But I do have some suggestions, very broad suggestions. Some of it will work for some people and others for others, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, number one, go through your subscriptions. Netflix, Hulu, all these subscriptions we have, but we don't use most of them. Audible, all that stuff, right? Prime, and cancel them. Cancel them for now. You can get them back later, okay? And especially movies, okay? Well, we pay for movies. I know it's $20 or $10 or, $30 or whatever it is. Get a library card if you don't have it. This is my library card for the North Georgia Library System. I love the library. I check out books. I was in there yesterday, check out books all the time, and it's just fantastic. It's all free.
These are also good tips if you just want to get out of debt, right? You want to start paying down debt, get ahead of it.
It's all free. They have games in there for kids, for families to play. They have a whole DVD section of most of these libraries. It's amazing if you go through your public library, okay, what you can find. For now, make that your entertainment system. Cancel all these things. It adds up. I know it's not a ton, but it's going to add up. Okay, number 2, sell off all the old stuff you can. Go through your old clothes, your attic, your basement, everything you can. You're probably sitting on thousands and thousands of dollars that you don't know. That you don't really, that you just haven't looked into. Go on Facebook Marketplace, sell it there. Okay, sell it on eBay, sell it whatever platform you want. You can probably bring in several $1,000s, okay, doing that. Number 3, stop donating to charities. I know this is controversial. Do it for now. Now you are the charity. You guys, this is the threat of our life.
These are the things that could potentially hurt others, right? But if you do believe that we are headed towards recession, you probably want to stop ahead of time.
Lifetime, okay? We need to get ahead of this thing before this guy collapses the entire economy and no one has any work and the grocery store shelves are barren and no one's getting Social Security checks or they're interrupted, okay? That's the threat level we have right now, guys. I'm telling you, I've known Trump half my life. I know what he's capable of. Okay, he just threatened Canada with an inch of their life, and we have a lot of power. He has a ton of power. We have a power of his, with our money and obviously our defense. I mean, this whole house of cards that Trump is creating is going to crash. Okay, and there's going to be major consequences. We have to get ahead of this. You've got to protect your family. Okay, now again, if you're listening to this and you're a MAGA person, you go, see, well, you don't understand, blah blah blah, and you watch Fox News every day. I can't help you. I don't know what to tell you. You've been bamboozled. I'm just telling you that. Fox News is not a news channel. I've been on Fox 300 or 400 times as an author. Okay, that is an entertainment channel. That's why every woman that's an anchor looks like a model, and every guy is not a journalist. They come from some other entertainers, basically, and they're very good at convincing you that they're journalists and not entertainers. Okay, if that's you want to follow Fox News, God bless you. I can't help you at this point. If you can't see Trump as a sociopath, I don't know how to help you. Okay, I'll help you if you voted for him, and I don't care. It doesn't matter anymore. He's in. Okay, and I hope you'll wake up. But okay, so stop charitable donations now. You are the charity right now. You'll get back to it later. You know who funds charities, you guys? Rich people. I've dealt with them for 41 years. Really rich people. They write a check, they don't even feel it. Okay, I know it feels good to donate to charity. I've done it for years, probably like you have. Stop doing it for now. Okay, number 4, and this is going to hit some of you hard. If you're a church person, stop tithing. Stop giving the church 10%. Okay, the 10% is not going to get you into heaven. Okay, no matter what they tell you. Let's be honest. We got to get down to brass tacks, guys. Please, let's get down to it. We are in a crisis situation. We're right before the storm. And again, if I'm wrong,
he did make a video and millions of people watched it, and then the next day it seemed like all the articles dropped that we were headed towards a recession.
Then fine. Then I'll be happy to be wrong, and it's just hyperbole I'm using, and I'm exaggerating. Hey, that'd be great, wouldn't it? I'm telling you, because I have inside information on Trump, I know I'm not wrong. I think I'm not wrong. I don't know it, but I want to be wrong. But stop tithing. Okay, now if you're really conflicted about this, you're still giving 10% to the church. I want you to go to your church and ask them, if you lose your house or they kick you out of your apartment, you got your kids and you're on the street, is the church going to take you in? Are they going to let you live there? Are they going to feed you? Believe me, if you don't pay your 10%, Franklin Jansen of the Free Chapel Church, which is right down the street from my house in Georgia here, he'll have plenty of jet fuel for his jet. Okay, Kenneth Copeland will be able to fund his mansion. All right, Joel Osteen, he has a $40 million mansion. His lawn.
I saw Chuck Schumer's talking about the potential for a government shutdown, right? If Congress doesn't pass the continuing resolution for the 6 months or whatever, they need Democrat votes. They didn't even negotiate with Democrats in any way, shape, or form. I think the Democrats are going to get blamed for anything, no matter what, right? Whether they extend it, whether they shut it down, they're going to get blamed either way. But his argument in his op-ed piece was that Trump and Musk may be able to do crazier shit with the government shut down.
It'll be fine without your 10%. Okay, they're not going to take you in. They're going to leave you on the street. They're not going to feed you. Okay? If they do, then they maybe pay them the 10%. All right? But I don't think that's going to happen. All right? You got to keep the money for now. You can always go back to doing it. Okay? But not now. Not while Trump is destroying the country. All right? We can't stop him right this second. It's going to take a little time. We gave him all the power. We gave him the keys to the kingdom. Okay? All right. So here's another one. Start a business. Now, if you go, well, what do I do? I don't know what to do. It doesn't matter. The tax system in this
You don't have to turn a profit on a business for years.
country that Reagan changed in 1986 is all for starting small business. It's all geared towards small business. You don't have to make a profit. What you want to do is be able to write off part of your apartment, part of your house, when you use your car, your dry cleaning, all these write-offs you have to reduce your tax bill so you can have more cash before. I've been telling people this for years. Other people have been telling this for years. You should be paying half of what you are in taxes, okay? Because you have write-offs. This is legal, all legal. You have 3 years to show a profit. I don't care if you don't make any money. You can still write off all these things and have a lower tax bill. So if you're paying 24%, okay, maybe you pay 12% because you have all these write-offs. Rich people do this every day, guys. This is all legal and everything, okay? Please do this, even if you don't make a profit, okay? I have a little business called I Buy Guitars because I like guitars, okay? I have a lot of them in my house. I have a collection, okay? I hardly make any money on it at all. I just enjoy doing it, but I write off part of my house because I got so many guitars in this house, I don't even know how many I have. Okay, it's just a hobby thing, but I use all the write-offs to reduce my tax bill.
I know it's depressing to think about it, but wouldn't you rather be, even if you can't get completely prepared, like let's say you can't have a year's worth of salary on hand, wouldn't it be better going into it with just a little more salary, right? A little fatter savings account. Anything you can do to get closer to being able to survive it is gonna hurt less.
By 50%, 50. Okay, that's a big number. All right, start a business. I don't care what it is. Doesn't matter. If you can't start a business, you go, I don't know, I'm not really sure. Side hustle, Uber, Lyft, deliver pizzas. Okay, it's not a ton of money. I get it, and it's a pain in the ass to do. I understand. You're busy. You got kids. You got all these things. I understand. Okay, but if you take all that money and just dump it into an emergency fund, it adds up pretty fast. Okay, it really will add up. You need as much as you can possibly get. Okay, number 7, stop discretionary spending. Stop going on Amazon just for now. You could do it later, okay, when things get better. Stop going on Amazon and buying stuff you don't need. Or things, if you don't absolutely need it, please don't buy it. We just have to outlast this guy. That's all we have to do, okay? I don't know how long it's going to take, so do whatever you possibly can do. And my last one is keep your cash. Stop investing in your Roth or your 401k. That's terrible advice.
Which is typically really, 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 really bad advice, okay? You should almost always be putting your maximum amount that you can stand in there for your retirement, except on the brink of a coming recession, if you think there's one coming.
I advise people, I love the Roth IRA. It's fantastic, okay? You need liquid cash. If this thing all goes to hell and it looks like it's going fast, you're going to need cash. Please protect your family. Please protect your kids. Don't listen to these goofballs that tell you, oh, this is all exaggeration. Hey, if it is, and I'm just exaggerating, and Trump doesn't destroy the country or the economy, you can take all this emergency money, put it into a Roth IRA, and you'll have a bunch more money for your retirement, and it'll all be good. You can't lose in this deal. But if it goes to hell, guys, I want you to be protected. Don't let this guy take your life away. Don't let him make your children suffer. Please, please consider these ideas. Thanks for watching.
It's hard to say, honestly. I don't even think he predicts. He just thinks that we're headed there, especially with the antics keeping up. Portugal pulled out today and buying F-22s, I think, citing political turmoil in the U.S., the back and forth with Canada. By the way, I found out something today that I didn't know. I did know that those tariffs on milk that Canada has on dairy products, right? They have like a 275% tariff on dairy products. One, those were in the USMCA, right? That's Trump's deal. They were in the USMCA. They stayed. They were in NAFTA, USMCA. They stayed. That was Trump's deal. 2, I knew that we never reached those, right? Even when you go to the experts in dairy exports, they're like, okay, we're at like 50% of the way before those kick in, okay? 50% of the way to where those kick in. The third thing that I didn't know is we were talking about how that's to save like local dairy farmers. It's actually an overture tariff. So what happens is Canada is on the books, and let's say they want 1,000 gallons of milk. Okay, they want 1,000 gallons of milk. That's what they order. That's what they want. They need to import, and the U.S. says we can fill that 1,000 gallons of milk. There's a huge buffer built in there. So let's say the U.S. sends 2,000 gallons of milk. The tariffs don't kick in. But if they send 2,500 gallons of milk, that's when they kick in. And it's to prevent another country from basically flooding their market. We've never hit those tariffs. No one's ever paid those tariffs. U.S. companies have never paid them. Again, it's just this mentality of this sounds extreme. Let's frame it in the worst way possible, and then tell people like, well, Canada's giving us a raw deal. Somebody like the older millennial, but they have a 275% tariff on dairy products. Bet you didn't know that, did you? Bet you didn't know that, did you? I don't know if you guys have heard the clip. I don't know if this is true. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if this is a real clip. Have you guys heard the Isaac Newton clip from Trump? Which one? That's messages? Yeah. Where's the... I hate using this on the fucking...
About 36 hours ago, I posted a video saying America's...
Have you guys heard this clip? That's not it. But listen to this. Trump is the only person I know that can say the word Tesla with a hard R. He says the word Tesla, which doesn't have an R in it, with a hard R. Listen.
Thank you all very much. I love Tesla.
Which one did you buy?
Yeah.
Wait, Mr. President. Which one?
Thank you very much. I love Tesla.
Thank you all very much. I love Tesla.
Which one did you buy? Yeah.
Wait, Mr. President.
Which one?
And for some reason, Elon salutes him. I love Tesla. What is...
Thank you all very much. I love Tesla.
Which one did you buy? Yeah.
Wait, Mr. President.
Which one?
These can't be real people, dude. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert have convinced me these are not real people. Like, who accidentally says Tesla, and then the owner of the Tesla company salutes you? What?
Thank you all very much. I love Tesla.
Which one did you buy? Yeah.
What is this? Anyways, this wasn't the video I was looking for earlier. Let's see if I can find it. ASAAC. Listen to this audio clip.
It's fantastic, fantastic. He was a smart guy, you know, Tesla. First the light bulb, and now this. He was like a modern day Isaac Neutron. It's remarkable, really.
Isaac who?
Fantastic, fantastic. He was a smart guy, you know, Tesla. First the light bulb, and now this. He was like a modern day Isaac Neutron. It's remarkable, really.
What the f*** you just said?
It's like a modern day Isaac Neutron.
Who?
It's like a modern day Isaac Neutron.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Could you imagine Biden saying this? Like a modern day Isaac? Could you imagine Biden signing a deal and then a year later saying, I don't know who signed this. Who did this to me?
It's fantastic, fantastic. He was a smart guy, you know, Tesla. First the light bulb, and now this. He was like a modern day Isaac Neutron. It's remarkable, really.
What
Donald Trump makes Tesla sound like a slur. Doesn't he? I want to see if Andrew said anything about it. Oh, yeah.
I love Tesla.
Which one did you buy? Yeah.
Man called it a Tesla with a hard R. He called it a Tesla with the hard R. What in the president progressive aphasia peepaw is this shit, Donnie? Okay, I know Elon's from Africa, but take it easy. Okay, this is a highly illegal commercial for a car in front of the White House involving a sitting president. It's not a goddamn Call of Duty lobby. This is not one of your clandestine South Florida meetings. Who do you think you are, Nicki Minaj? You got to keep a watch out for Selena? What is even a Tesla? Sounds like the car that the bad guy in the Lorax would drive around in, which... Even a Tesla. Sounds like the car that the bad guy in the Lorax would drive around in, which honestly tracks. Makes a lot of sense that that would be the case. Okay, is Tesla the term for words like DEI or woke? When you're too chicken shit to use an actual slur, you use a Tesla. Even Joe Biden. May the sun never shine upon his head. At his sundowniest, at his utmost magoo, could rally a few spare brain cells and eke out the word Tesla.
That's pretty good.
I don't know.
I'm glad we looked.
Remember this, but 2 years ago, I went to the DMV to renew my driver's license, and whilst occupying that space, I got absolutely fire roasted by a clerical worker there. She lit me up like a Christmas tree. I was seeing ghosts at this Department of Motor Vehicles. Okay, at one point she goes, "What's your weight?" And I didn't know. I was just guessing. So I was like, 165. She peeks around her computer. She looks me up and down. She goes, "No, 180. Which is like fine, you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with being 180 pounds or 80 weight. I do think rude, however, when someone tells you their weight, to correct them with a higher number. I didn't say any of that, of course. I didn't want to provoke her wrath. But you want to know the worst part? Is I left that DMV and I immediately drove in tears to the nearest Target, bought a scale, stepped on that motherfucker, 182. And on that day, I vowed a sacred vow that this biatch would not get the better of me. And I decided I was going to start working out 6 days a week, switching between lifting and cardio. And then I did. I did it every week for 2 years. I was out here training for retribution like I was Bruce Wayne. I was a being of pure spite, driven by rancor. And you want to know what happened? Since then, I have gained 20 pounds, gone up 2 shirt sizes and 4 pant sizes. I have to buy an entirely new wardrobe. This shirt used to fit me. Now look at me. I'm busting out of this thing like it's a sausage casing on a hot grill. I don't know how many of you all remember this, but 2 years ago.
He's pretty funny. He's pretty funny. The Tesla. I don't know if you guys have heard. Well, first, let's fact check the elder millennial a couple times. You guys good with that? Let's start with this one. Egg prices. Egg prices are down.
Let's go ahead and look it up and see if it's true. So here was the national average price of eggs when Donald Trump took office. It was $6.
I want you to look at this chart. Does that chart make any sense?
And 59 cents. And here we are at the current average price for eggs, $5.17. I don't claim to be an expert at math, but I am pretty sure that $5.18 is less than $6.60.
Not only is he not an expert in math, he's not an expert in looking shit up. He kept claiming in his comments that he got the information from the Federal Reserve. This is not the Federal Reserve website. This is tradingeconomics.com. And this is not the price of eggs. This is the price of a CFD, or a contract for difference, on the commodities futures markets. And it's not even tracking retail prices for a dozen eggs like most people buy. It's tracking wholesale prices for 30 dozen cases of caged shell eggs. Caged shell eggs aren't even allowed to be sold in 10 of the United States. You know how else he could have figured out that that's not the price of eggs? Because I think we can all agree that in May of 2023, a dozen eggs didn't cost 77 cents.
In May of 2023, do you remember eggs being 27 cents? Or 77 cents, whatever the fuck he said.
shit up. He kept claiming in his comments that he got the information from the Federal Reserve. This is not the Federal Reserve website. This is tradingeconomics.com. And this is not the price of eggs. This is the price of a CFD, or a contract for difference, on the commodities futures markets. And it's not even tracking retail prices for a dozen eggs like most people buy. It's tracking wholesale prices for 30 dozen cases of caged shell eggs. Caged shell eggs aren't even allowed to be sold in 10 of the United States. You know how else he could have figured out that that's not the price of eggs? Because I think we can all agree that in May of 2023, a dozen eggs didn't.
I swear, dude, he lies so much. Like, I don't think he checks anything. I think he finds a lot of it on Twitter, some of it from Moscow. But he's never checked anything, and he's so confident in it.
Cost 77 cents across the country. The Fed does have prices for a dozen eggs, cage-free, free-range, traditional, organic, non-organic, all the different types sold across the country. And they're reporting that the prices are...
A contract for difference is where two parties make an exchange on the difference in price of something between contract open and contract close. So you can trade in a certain commodity without even owning it, right? You're trading on the egg market and you're never owning any eggs.
Up. This is the latest information released today, March 12th.
March 12th. That looks like a downward trend, doesn't it?
March numbers will be out April 12th. Honestly, this dude is so loud and so wrong every time, and he can't even do the most basic of research.
He's like wrong professionally. It's insane how often he's wrong. And I've never seen him make a video correcting it. He's deleted videos. I've never seen him make a correction. He probably has. Maybe I just haven't seen it. Let's go back to this one. Another older millennial.
Trump got Zelensky to sign a ceasefire deal that gives us 50% of the rare earth minerals, and we didn't have to give security guarantees. But I'm sure...
Is that what happened? Trump got Zelensky to sign this deal. 50% of rare earth minerals out of Ukraine and no security guarantees. I'm sure you guys have read the cliff notes of how the meeting went. Is that what happened?
Sure, liberals will still find something to be upset about.
I'm not upset at all. I'm just genuinely concerned because you're a grown-ass man who doesn't know how to read. This is the Department of State website where you can find the statement that was released officially by the US and Ukraine. I know it might be hard because it doesn't look like the Fox News website, but don't worry, it still has pretty colors. Those of us with the capacity to understand words know that this says that the United States will immediately lift the pause on intelligence sharing and resume security assistance to Ukraine.
Immediately lift the pause on intelligence sharing and resume security assistance to Ukraine. So intelligence is back there, and we're sending fucking shit back there to fight the Russians.
Right. Really excited to hear you guys bitch and complain about us sending more old military equipment to Ukraine the way you did under the Biden administration. It also includes talks of humanitarian relief efforts. Things like prisoner exchanges, releasing civilians, and returning forcibly transferred Ukrainian children. That's weird. I thought you guys...
Dude, what they're doing to the kids from Ukraine is really fucked up. They're basically re-educating them to remove any ties to Ukraine. Anything. They're teaching them that they're Russian, that they've always been Russian, that Ukraine is part of Russia. Like, it's fucked up.
You guys said Russia was the good guy. And then at the end, it says both countries' presidents agreed to conclude as soon as possible a comprehensive agreement for developing Ukraine's critical mineral resources. Why are you claiming we got 50% of their rare earth?
There's no deal signed on rare earth. As soon as possible, they're supposed to meet and talk about it. But Ukraine already said they're not giving that up without security guarantees, saying like, oh, if Russia comes back and bombs the fuck out of us, the U.S. is going to show up, or somebody's going to show up.
Minerals if we haven't even finished the agreement yet. The deal that you're referring to was supposed to be signed when Zelensky visited the White House.
This is what Trump wanted when Zelensky showed up at the White House. Not sure if he would have gotten it right? Because Zelensky was still pretty hard on security guarantees.
Except Trump and Vance bullied him out of the Oval Office. You guys celebrated that behavior, but now we get nothing. It's also just killing me that there's Trump supporters in his comment section saying, can you send me the link to this so that I can rub it in all the libs' faces? No, he can't do that because the article doesn't exist.
I see one more here. Hold on. What's this one?
Okay, so first of all, Donald Trump didn't illegally fire anyone. Every single inspector general serves at the pleasure of the president.
Here's another blatant lie from this creator. Yes, presidents do appoint inspectors general, but he cannot just fire them overnight. You want to know how I know that? Because I Googled it, because I looked it up on the internet that's free for everyone, including you. Here's a document that outlines the procedures for hiring and firing inspectors.
I don't know this for sure, but I think the inspectors general are supposed to, they're protected under federal law, and it requires the president to notify Congress at least 30 days ahead so Congress can be aware of what's going on. And then there's a time for like appointing a new inspector general. Usually they're not fired in bulk like this.
Inspectors General from the Congressional Research Service. You can see here that they mention the Inspector General Act of 1978, which is a law. It is a law that you have to follow. And when we zoom into the section about removing inspectors general, it says, an inspector general may be removed from office by the president. However, the president shall also communicate in writing the substantive rationale, including detailed and case-specific reasons for such removal, not later than 30 days before the removal or transfer. Trump is required to give a 30 days notice and a rationale behind firing inspectors general. He did not do that. He fired these people on a random Friday at 11:45 p.m., 5 days into his presidency.
That's why 8 of them are suing, right? 8 of them are suing. He didn't follow the procedure. Signed into law by Congress.
He fired these people on a random Friday at 11:45 p.m., 5 days into his presidency. You should genuinely be ashamed of yourself for making content like this.
If what they're doing is valid, legal, and all they're doing is getting rid of fraud and abuse and waste, there's no need to fire the inspectors general. Zero need.
I just got finished making a response video to one of your other blatantly false claims that you're spreading on this app. And here we go. Here's another one. You are the problem. You are the reason that people are being propagandized left and right by this administration. You and all the other creators on here who propagandize their audience in order to get clicks and views.
Another one from TikTok. Have you guys heard about apparently the meeting behind closed doors? So the reason that Trump did the Tesla infomercial is because apparently it's documented, people close to Elon, that when he gets really upset, he cries a lot. And we've actually seen him in interviews like cry. Like he gets so upset and so frustrated with something, he just like bursts into tears and has these little fucking like fits. We've seen him cry during interviews. We've had reports of people telling him. So apparently he went into the White House very upset, broke down and started screaming and crying about how much money he's losing through Tesla. And that's why Trump decided to do the infomercial. And multiple agencies are reporting this from multiple sources. Plus we have like the background to follow against, right? He cries a lot.
News is leaking from the MAGA White House, as you would imagine. And as we predicted, Elon Musk is an absolute emotional basket case. Put up the first tweet. Elon Musk apparently bursts into tears with surprising frequency. When he's in a bad mood, he goes really dark. And so it has been leaked that there were audible tears and a complete hysterical meltdown. I'm talking titty baby city because of his Tesla stock. He's crying his eyes out. So that's when Trump decided to do the infomercial and expand his online flea market.
This is also ties back to ketamine. So during ketamine treatments, a lot of people claim that they have like these deep emotional feelings that just like outburst and a lot of times it's met with tears.
To a car dealership on the White House lawn. And if you notice from some of the footage, and I know it's just so repulsive to watch, Trump's like, he's so IQ, and he's patting his shoulders, really trying to build him up. And it's
like a little kid. Like your kid just lost his or messed up a play in a baseball game or something. He's like crying. You're like, oh, he's such a good look at him. Look how good he's doing. Like a child.
interesting. You know, there's all of these alpha males that try to stereotype women as being hysterical, not emotionally strong enough to lead. And look at this. I mean, this is just the most ridiculous display.
Also, some people from the Doge team. First of all, one of the women got busted doing TikToks while she's supposed to be like cleaning up from OMB, right? She's been doing TikToks all day during work hours. And even if she claims she was doing them after work hours, there's a couple of her videos where her watch can be seen, and you could tell. And then Elon Musk had a big-ass TV screen installed in his office at the Eisenhower building so that he could play video games while he's doging.
Of hysterical emotions that are oftentimes attached to women. But in MAGA, it is all the men, and it is titty baby city. But I want to say this bullying, these meltdowns, this stuff is working, and London is leading the charge.
Titty baby city.
They're putting these up all over the city of London. Kylie put this up. So all over bus stations, it says X marks the rot, and it has the image of Elon Musk doing the Nazi salute. And in America, we seem to have just kind of forgotten about the Nazi salute. Legacy media goes on as though it never happened. Trump has the audacity to stand on the grounds of the White
say he's
House
a great patriot.
He's such a good patriot. We have to cherish him. And nobody acknowledges that he did two, not one, but two, to make sure everybody knew exactly what he was doing. 2 Sig Heils. So
have you guys seen Charlie Kirk? Parker called out Charlie Kirk and said, do it. Do it. Do what Elon did that day. Have you guys seen it?
thank you, London, and America, take notice. Keep bullying this guy because it is working, because he is a very small man and an absolute crackhead emotional basket case. Also, in his spare time when he's not melting down crying to Trump, reports have come out from Politico. Kylie, please pop this up. Upon Musk's request.
Oh, there it is. Young procured a massive TV from Musk's office in the Eisenhower Executive Office building so he could play video games.
Who was one of his aides, procured a massive TV from Musk's office in the Eisenhower Executive Building so he could play video games. According to a person familiar with the situation, granted anonymity to speak freely. But, So you hear that, MAGA? While you're paying, 300% higher for eggs, Elon Musk is playing video games and having a meltdown and doing Nazi salutes, and Donald Trump is having an infomercial for him on the White House lawn. This is white trash, riffraff, knick-knack, corruption at the highest form. And these aren't even smart things. These are just stupid people doing stupid things in the United States of America. And here's one of my biggest pet peeves. A lot of them.
When he was talking on Fox Business and they were asking him about how far can you let the stock drop before you're done with this and you go back to, doing your job? And he's like, I think that, you could tell he wants to cry then.
Americans assume when somebody is wealthy that they are smart. And they say, well, he's so wealthy, he must be smart. He must be a genius. And you hear this all the time about Elon Musk, but not on AOC's watch.
They've got an earnings report that comes out next month.
Watch, Kylie put this up. AOC, Elon Musk is not a scientist. He is not an engineer. He is a billionaire con man. And that sums it up perfectly. And that is the connective tissue that connects Trump and Musk. They're both billionaire con men. The reason why Elon Musk wanted to go rape and pillage every government agency is because they were investigating him. Many of his companies were found to have very racist work environments, very sexist work environments. He was completely under investigation. I also think there's a Freudian way that he wants to dismantle the American government because he knows he's an imposter. He knows without those government subsidies, he would never have been this successful. And so he wants to destroy the whole thing down. It's not kind of like Candace Owens kissing ass to MAGA. It's a very similar psychological thing, in my opinion. And speaking of con men, Donald Trump has expanded the MAGA flea market merch. Now,
someone said if it goes below 114, they'll get the margin called and he'll have to liquidate his shares. I don't know if that's true or not.
Now we have the MAGA cowboy boots, the signature gold tee. These are gold cowboy boots, boldly set against the American flag, makes a striking statement of patriotism. I mean, are you kidding?
Are you fucking seeing this, dude? Trump is now selling gold cowboy boots. Who does this? Why would the president be hawking this shit?
Kidding me? The president of the United States of America is selling MAGA gold boots at his flea market. It's just unbelievable to me that people think that this man is so pro-America. All he's ever done is bash the troops. Every time he's on TV, all he does is talk about what a piece of shit America is. He never says anything favorable about it. Ever. He's against equality. He's against liberty. He's dismantled the Department of Justice. All he does, he wants to sue CBS because he's upset about a Kamala Harris interview. This man is a...
They're $500. $500. A pair.
Deranged infant. And he sells all of this white trash riffraff on his website, and these cult followers lap it up and buy it. And here's a big story that if Barack Obama were president or Kamala Harris were president or any Democrat, and they had a Christian advisor on their team that then turned out to be a pedophile, it would be incredibly problematic. And here we have Robert Morris,
Texas megachurch pastor, former Trump advisor, indicted for child sex crimes.
Texas megachurch pastor and former Trump advisor indicted for child sex crimes. Morris is a former spiritual advisor to President Donald Trump, and Gateway, one of the nation's largest megachurches, has been particularly...
He's turned it into like trashy reality TV. Like, you might not like Joe Biden. He was just like some old guy, but most of the time he was just doing his own thing. There was no existential crisis anywhere, right? There was no crisis going on. You didn't have to be checking fucking Twitter every 20 minutes to see if you're going to live or die next month. Like, then Trump gets into office and it's like every fucking day. Like, you hate to watch it, but goddamn, he's destroying lives.
Particularly active in the Dallas area GOP politics. And Alex Cole tweets, the same people banning books and drag shows to protect kids are the ones hurting them every single time. And this is so true. Every single time, it's always some megachurch pastor or some priest that is sexually abusing children. And the article appears and it's up there for a day or two, maybe 10 hours, and then it disappears. But this constant, nonstop talk about trans people and drag queens is insane. Show me the evidence where kids have gone.
The boots are being sold on a website called Public Square. It's an e-commerce website, and Donald Trump Jr. is on the board of it. Yeah, Donald Trump Jr. is there. It's a business that they sell shit at called Trump Trends, spelled with a Z. You can look it up. Yeah.
Drag shows and been harmed. And there's also, as parents, you have agency. You have agency to not send your kid to a drag show. I have agency as a parent, and I've never sent my child to a megachurch for multiple reasons, and this is just one of them. Moving along, we have more dipshit MAGA Christians, and this is Tommy Tuberville. And here's what he has to say about MAGA's plan for education.
And understand is every state has their own Department of Education. It's not like we're not going to have a Department of Education, but every state, I'm from the South. We have a different way of life in terms of education. We educate our kids in different curriculums. Everybody should do their own thing.
Oh, there's a video about him too. while he's talking. Remember all the shit they gave to Joe Biden? Here's your boy, Tommy Tuberville. Getting off the plane. Dude, this motherfucker fell all the way to the bottom. Joe Biden missed a step twice. Oh, he broke his fucking neck. All the way to the bottom, dude. This should be playing everywhere. Mainstream media. Is he fit? Is he fit to hold office? For the good of the country, he must step down. That's fucking wild. Anyways, back to his quote here about Department of Education.
Moving along, we have more dipshit MAGA Christians. And this is Tommy Tuberville. And here's what he has to say about MAGA's plan for education.
And understand is every state has their own Department of Education. It's not like we're not going to have a Department of Education, but every state, I'm from the South. We have a different way of life in terms of education. We educate our kids in different curriculums. Everybody should do their own thing, but we can't regulate ourselves out of business. We don't need dictatorship from Washington, D.C. to people in Georgia or South Carolina or Montana or California. Let us teach our kids the way that we want to teach them. Let the parents be involved. Get all this.
How would we ever have a standard? Or how would you ever have interstate anything? Right? How would you compare states to each other to see if any states are falling behind? It's all the states that are in the lowest of the 50 states on education that want their own education system. My kids are going to suffer because I live in a red state. And kids in California and Maryland and other blue states are going to do really well.
This bureaucracy out of the way.
Okay, he wants to teach exactly the way this pastor before wants to.
Wait, did you hear Andrew Tate and his friend, his brother, are back in the U.S.? Yeah, we've talked about it probably 4 or 5 times.
Teach in schools, Christian nationalism and exploitation of children, the subjugation of women, the whitewashing of Black history, not room for anybody except for the patriarchy. And let me just tell you this, viewer and listener, go look at the worst states for education in the country, and they are.
I mean, I guess they can still use SAT, ACT stuff. I don't know how they would align prerequisites if other states stop doing them and requiring them and shit like that. But I would like to see the test scores after a year or two of that.
One that I live in, Oklahoma, and our governor says this same kind of stuff. And he acts like it does all of this gaslighting stuff. We have our own way.
The problem with moving is like, I want to go somewhere warmer. But everything south of me is pretty rough. I don't think I can do California.
We support family. And it's like, well, no shit, dipshit. Everybody supports family. You're not unique. That's not something you have to brag about. And so the South, they want to make all of these schools Christian nationalist schools. Yet at the same time, they can criticize countries like North Korea because they're against freedom. But all the while, they want the exact same.
That's what the tech bros want. That's what the tech bros want is Texas doesn't get me out of a red state lunacy. That's what the tech bros want. Is to balkanize, right? They want these mini tech oligarch, where like companies rule under a board of directors.
Type of nationalism and fascist government. But somebody's reemerging, and somebody that I really think is a very important voice on the national stage, and it is Governor Tim Walz. And here's what a real man, a real patriot, a real rational person that makes sense, that's educated, that isn't trying to gaslight the public, has to say about education.
Last person to give advice because we didn't get it done. But I just felt like Donald Trump floods the zone with this. And I think, Chris, if you go ask the average American, what does the Department of Education do? They might not have a clear vision of it. So when Trump says it's a bunch of bureaucrats interfering with your local schools, give local control, we'll give you the money, it sounds pretty good. And we have not provided what that alternative looks like. Right. And so, yeah, I think it's fair. And look, I do agree. And I think there's a place for this, the disruptors, the folks that shake up systems in a way that are positive for people. But I keep saying this, what is the goal at the end?
The problem is you can never get through to these Christian people. So if you come in and say, well, what if they force religion on your kids? They're like, they immediately think of their religion. Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, I think we ought to be reading the Bible and praying and doing this. But then you say, well, what if they force like Islam? That's the school's religion. They'd never do that. No, they've lived in this bubble where they constantly scream we're persecuted, but they're the most protected religious group on the fucking face of the earth. It's so weird. I don't even know how to explain it.
End of the day, what is the goal and where is it backed up? There's not a single economist backs tariffs. There's no one there. Linda McMahon, I bet she's never been in a public school. What is she going to do to improve our students' outcomes and lives? And there's a vacuum for us to fill. We should get out there and fill it. Talk about what we're going to do.
He's exactly right. They are going to say, this is what cult leaders do. They make you not trust the places that hold the cult leader accountable. And so that's why Trump is always talking about the deep state. He makes people question investigations. He makes you question the Justice Department. He makes you question democracy. He makes you question elections. All of these things are put in place so that we have an earnest attempt at transparency and guardrails. The cult leader, Donald Trump, wants all of these removed, and all of his sycophants roll out and say the same crap. And let me tell you what goes on in states that are ranked 49th and 50th in public education. We have a school superintendent who has mandated that they put the 10 Commandments on all the walls. And this is his attempt to go from 49, I guess, to 48. He bought Trump Bibles to be issued in American public schools. These parents are wound up like cheap clocks watching Fox News all the time, and they're convinced that there's some big drag queen coup going on at all of the public schools in the United States of America, trying to indoctrinate children. What this is classic projection. The people who want to indoctrinate children are the megachurch pastors and these Christian nationalists, because they want them in the cult. They don't want critical thinking. When people have the power and people acknowledge their agency in their power, fascist systems and autocrats fall. And this is all a ruse. And Governor Walz asked a very important question. What is all of this for? All of this dismantling, what is it for? And it is to make the electorate dumb and take away power from the people so it can be consolidated at the top to two crackheads that are beholden to Vladimir Putin. One is the titty baby Elon Musk, who pitched a toddler-like meltdown because his Tesla stock is crashing. So Donald Trump then decided to have an infomercial for him. And then these two people go to the bargaining table with a man who should have no leverage. Russia should have zero leverage. And I want to remind everybody, all that has to be done for this war to end is for Vladimir Putin to end it. That's it. That would end it. But we are beholden somehow, some way to Vladimir Putin, and we have two crackheads at the helm. And, this is at the crux of what's going on right now. So here's my advice to everybody.
North Korea is not a bastion of freedom.
What can we do? Number one, keep bullying Elon Musk. Keep labeling these cars as swastikars. Keep bullying the shit out of Donald Trump. And remember this, Trump likes controversy, but he hates being humiliated. That strikes to the core of his malignant narcissism. So keep up the good work online. Hopefully the spring comes out and we're all out in the streets. But a part of me thinks that's what he wants, because he wants martial law. But stay engaged in platforms like ours, and please subscribe, and I'll see you all later.
Stings a little bit. I can imagine Elon Musk coming in and like banging his fist and crying and throwing shit around, and Trump's like, well, maybe we could do a commercial for you, big guy. It's all right. You're a real patriot, just like me. We're both patriots. we can get you a car commercial going.
These conservatives on Twitter, I think I don't know. I'm surprised at their reaction. They could have ignored this.
They can't.
But apparently they don't feel they can. Now, who's this cat turd guy? Wasn't he like Elon Musk's friend? And then...
So this is where he went on Jubilee. I couldn't play all of the Jubilee because I'll get struck. But I think if Sam was able to play this, that I can play some of the clips from it.
He got rejected or something like that. What happened?
He's a major conservative.
We can't watch it all. It's like an hour-long video.
Right now, you would say?
Yeah, he's big. Occasionally he has issues with Trump, but he's just a sad.
Like an Ian Miles Chong type.
Yeah.
So they saw this guy that you were debating, and because
this is the guy. This is the picture of the guy who was telling me that folks get tax cuts if they hire black people. That's what DEI is.
Mm-hmm.
So a guy came on and said that federal government agencies, fucking starved to death in North Korea. Got it. Federal government agencies get tax credits for hiring black people. And Sam was like, federal agencies don't pay tax. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. Nope, that's wrong. You guys think the Department of Agriculture pays taxes? They're funded by taxes. What would be the point of them paying taxes? And how would they get these tax breaks?
And that's not what DEI is. Folks don't get tax cuts if they hire black people. Did we go through this the other day with the, we did during the promo. There is a program where you will get tax cuts. If you hire, this is the work opportunity tax cut. And you scroll down.
Is it Tsuko here?
And you do get a tax cut if you hire qualified citizens. So who are they? Scroll down. I think it's all the way down at the bottom. Targeted groups. It can be a qualified IVA.
I think I've talked to her. There's a North Korean term for their homeless people. And it means like wandering flower or some shit. Because they never put down roots, they have to travel around, try to find food. A lot of them fucking sneak off and they get like leftovers and sneak into other countries trying to find food.
You hit that. The qualified is an individual as a member of a family receiving assistance under a state program. So in other words, you remember all the work qualification programs? Like you can't qualify. No, keep that up here. Keep that up here. You can't qualify for Medicaid unless you get a job that all the Republicans want to do. Well, this encourages that.
For, people in lower income.
People who are getting family assistance under a state program, the way you get them out of it is by getting them into a job, according to the Republicans. So that's what they do. Or if you're a qualified veteran. This is the thing that he was complaining about. Or if you're a qualified ex-felon, right? Because you want people to be able to work and you want to encourage ex-felons to get back into society and rehabilitate. Or a designated community resident. Click that. You got to be 18-year-old and under 40 and have a principal residence within an empowerment zone or rural renewal county. And what does this do? It encourages businesses to go to rural areas or encourages businesses to go to struggling areas within a city or in a suburb. Set up the business there and it makes it essentially a subsidy for the business. A vocational rehabilitation referral. Click on that. That is, if you are have a physical or mental disability and you're still working on working on that and rehabilitating, and you can get a job. Qualified summer youth programs, qualified SNAP benefits recipients, qualified security income, that's SSI income recipients, long-term family assistance, qualified long-term unemployment recipient. Now, there may be black people who are there. Maybe you have a...
I think so. North Korea's rural economy is in a terrible situation. The nation's dictator said in late January of 2024. So like their leader said it. Admitting failure to satisfactorily provide the people in local areas with basic living necessities, including condiments, foodstuff, and consumption goods. This comes from the state-run Korean Central News Agency. That people didn't have food.
Black guy, he served in the military, he's a vet, but that's it. And then the guy was telling me that not only do they get that in the private sector, and we just saw the only program which provides those tax cuts, they also get this in the public sector. And I said, what are you talking about? agencies don't get tax cuts because they don't pay any taxes.
The Vienna University in Austria estimated that 60 or 50 or 60% of the people were in absolute poverty in North Korea, with not able to afford basic necessities.
Because they are the government. The government doesn't pay taxes to itself.
Yep. Pretty rudimentary that government agencies are funded by the government.
I have a weird category to make in any circumstance.
And he was adamant that I was wrong in his argument as to why DEIA should be cut.
Should we play that clip?
Yeah, let's play that clip.
It's kind of short.
Yep, here it is.
This was maybe the stupidest moment.
Now, in terms of a DEI initiative, the reason why there's military bans on trans women and trans men is because they do not have the ability to cooperate at a mental capacity when they're constantly undergoing hormone treatment, as well as depression pills, as well as different moods.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un acknowledged last week that his country's economy was in a terrible situation as he touted a new development scheme to stimulate the isolated region. Kim described the scarcity of basic necessities, including food, as a serious political issue. The 40-year-old supreme leader also blamed party cadres who he said were too passive. North Korea faced critical food shortages in recent years, with around 45% of the economy believed to be undernourished from 2020 to 2022, according to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization's latest food scarcity report. Also in 2022, outside observers were increasingly concerned about the country's first reported outbreak of COVID-19. North Korea, which lacks sufficient testing kits for tracing, reported only a few dozen deaths from the virus, but experts believe that the pandemic dealt a heavy blow to its poverty-stricken economy and workforce. Quote, today, failure to satisfactorily provide the people in local areas with basic living necessities, including condiments, foodstuff, and consumption goods, has arisen as a serious political issue that our party and government can never sidestep, Kim said during a Workers' Party conference held January 23rd and 24th of 2024. He pointed out the overall regional economy is in a terrible situation without elementary conditions, and that there are severe imbalance and huge gaps between regions in terms of geographical circumstances, economic potential, and living circumstances, the official Korean Central News Agency reported a day later. Kim called for a practical solution to be brought forward to boost basic material and cultural life of regional people in North Korea in a short amount of time. A very short growing season, often harsh climate, lack of modern technology.
Stabilizer pills, and so when you go out to
aside
combat,
from the theory that all trans people are heavily medicated at any time, I don't think if you are heavily medicated and your medication is preventing you from performing your duties, I also don't think that they're going to be putting you on the front lines in the military. No, because that would be a problem for everybody. I mean, it's not like trans people are the only people who are depressed at times or taking medication.
There's a trans man in the military that was profiled by the New York Times, and he said that his only gender-affirming treatment is one testosterone.
I think they ended up sending like artillery and shit to Russia for food.
Shot a week. Now, the Republicans are adamantly against testosterone shots. I mean, just ask RFK Jr., whose physical appearance in his 70s looks quite... He's 70, right? It looks...
He's testosterone.
It's a little different.
100%.
So, I mean, they must be really against testosterone shots if that's the case.
Continue on with this.
Pills, different mood stabilizer pills, and so
this guy's wild, dude. This guy came up a couple times, I think. Wild.
when you go out to combat, do you really think you're going to bring an ice cooler pack with your, whether that be hormone estrogen or whatever it may be, while you're about to shoot someone of the opposing war?
The executive orders that Trump...
This one's from Newsweek. You can just type in that snippet and a bunch of sources will come up. Failure to satisfactorily provide the people in local areas with basic living necessities.
EIA orders that had to do with agencies that have nothing to do with the military.
Yes, they do. Yes, they absolutely do.
The FDA, they just need...
The FDA getting tax breaks.
They just revoked the ability of the Air Force to teach Air Force members about the Tuskegee Airmen. What?
You can't teach them about the Tuskegee Airmen. Too much.
What are we talking about here?
Okay, well...
Honestly, pause it for 1 second. Now, to be fair, this was shot in January, and within a couple of days, they had reversed it. But we also know, since then, they have removed something like 40,000 images because they contained women or black people or Native Americans through like military documents and I guess websites and whatnot. It's just bizarre. But go ahead.
Well,
what are we talking about here?
Okay, well,
honestly, like they're rewriting history.
Well, that's your perspective, right? But at the end of the day, if a person,
Tuskegee Airmen, we can all agree existed,
just
right?
listen to this. If you were racist, right, and you were an employer, and if you wanted to absolutely be racist and exercise that, you would. I think DEI sort of prevents people from seeing the reality. If a person truly wanted to hire you based on your intellect, based on your skill set, they would. DEI essentially provides tax cuts for the end of the year when you.
Now, like, I mean, I've never been so gish-galloped by nonsense. Like I don't. Like,
at the end of the day, Sam.
Like I couldn't even follow what he was saying. That DEI prevents people from seeing how racist people are, and it doesn't allow their discrimination to come out in the open. And understand, DEI doesn't do anything in terms of a hiring thing, except it allows for putting public notice in a bunch of different communities, low-income communities.
Right. You have to advertise to everybody. You have to make sure that these statements are out there and they're available to everybody.
It also, I think, encourages summer internships, low-income communities, but also other places. All DEI does, to the extent that it's involved in the hiring process.
They came off this touting this as a win. I've seen people on Twitter posting clips from this saying Sam Cedar didn't know what he was in for. Sometimes you find people that do know what they're talking about.
Is to expand the pool of people who are considered. Not to give extra points to anybody. That's the whole point. And then, for those people who are already hired, to make sure that there's nothing that's happening within the workplace that is discriminatory. So if you, and that's why it's DEIA. Make sure that things are accessible.
The A is accessibility.
Go ahead.
Essentially provides tax cuts for the end of the year when you create your tax returns. They give you a tax credit for hiring someone who's black or a person of color.
They give the FDA or the Department of Agriculture or the IRS get tax cuts.
In these agencies?
In agencies and private
in government agencies, they don't get tax cuts for hiring people.
And the other thing I wanted
to protect people from discrimination.
The other thing I want to kind of state here is that I've realized that a lot of the times with the liberals is that you guys push for example,
again,
and people
just the Gish Gallop. He said they don't get tax cut at government agencies. They don't pay taxes. Well, again, I want to restate that.
Of Latino or Hispanic descent. And a lot of the times what you don't realize is you're actually doing more harm than good by putting them in positions where you make them believe that it's based on the color of their skin. It's based on
even municipalities. Like your local city doesn't pay taxes, right? The municipality.
Is not
it's based on merit. DEI emphasizes color, skin color.
No, it says that the people who work in your agency, it's about anti-discrimination.
Discrimination against what?
Against people who may have different cultural mores, may have different...
But that's irrelevant to a job, right? It should be based on merit, and that is the emphasis
People
here.
get hired as a merit, but if the DEIA, I'm talking about Trump's rescission of these orders on these agencies.
As an employer, wouldn't you hire a person of color?
Dude,
if you could pay them less?
Listen, we're talking about government agencies that do not get tax cuts. They don't. Government agencies.
They don't.
No.
Yes, they do. They absolutely.
Yes, they do. Government agencies get tax cuts. For what? They don't pay. They're exempt. They don't pay. What's the cut for?
I'm talking about. Do you understand? Like, there's such a cascade of complete nonsense that it was sort of hard for you to catch up and address. Like, how do you have a conversation with someone who thinks government agencies? How do you have a policy conversation with someone who thinks government agencies pay taxes?
The FDA is busy doing their taxes because it's coming up now.
I mean, Sam, the grass is blue. Grass is blue.
The IRS.
Yes, it is.
You really got to monitor when the IRS does their taxes. You really.
I was watching a lady. Let me see if I can find her. I don't think I believe this. I think there's probably some people that do this. I don't think this is a widespread issue. Now, you guys tell me if I'm off base, out of my mind, or whatever. And maybe I am. I don't think that this is a real issue with real people doing this.
Vote that is supposed to be up right now or soon in the Senate. So last night we went through the vote and Dems for the most part.
That's Crockett talking. Hold on.
Obviously we don't have the numbers that we need on the House side. So right now what we need you to do is we need you to apply pressure to the Senate. Listen, we need to tell the Senate Democrats that it's time for them to show up and show out for the people. Now what does it mean? If they hold the line, then the federal government may shut down. And I know that there are those that are concerned and saying things like, well, if the government shuts down, then they're going to blame the Democrats. They blame the Democrats for everything. Right now, the stock market is crashing. And guess what? They want to try to blame Joe Biden. They're going to blame us for everything that goes wrong in their life because they refuse to connect with reality. But the reality is that We have somebody that is driving our country into the ground in every single way possible, while at the same time deciding that he's going to sell Teslas on the White House lawn, while everybody else, or I guess he was selling and buying. Not really sure what all he was doing, but he was definitely promoting, which our ethics rules don't allow us to do, but that's a whole other story. So if the government shuts down, then one of my questions is, are they allowed to still fire people? In my opinion, if we're shut down, you can't be fired. And what does that mean? It does mean that people will not be paid, but it does mean that they will get their back pay. So hopefully we can stop some of the bleeding. We just saw that the Department of Education laid off 50% of their workforce. So I don't really understand why anybody would say, oh, we got to take the high road. We got to listen. He is decimating the federal government. And you're talking about whether or not we're going to keep the doors open. He literally is shutting down departments anyway. But here are the things that we're going to lose. So if your specific district had a member that went out and got community projects for some of these nonprofit organizations, as well as some of their governmental agencies, then those things, they go away. Why? So that Elon Musk and Donald Trump can have more latitude than they're supposed to be. A continuing resolution is literally supposed to be like, oh, this is just to carry me over. It is not supposed to be.
Right. It's just to get by till we negotiate.
Process. And this is the only time the Democrats in the Senate can actually say, hey, we're going to filibuster. We're going to raise that threshold to 60 votes, right? It's the only time. If they actually go through the appropriations process, then it's only a 50-vote majority. And that way, we know exactly line by line where monies are supposed to go. In addition to that, this is really our only leverage because they're going to enter into reconciliation here shortly. And when they enter into reconciliation, that
just need a simple majority.
Try to do the things such as get rid of Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. So this is a matter of leverage. Right now, this is our only chance to negotiate. We don't have a filibuster on the House side. So what I need y'all to do is I need y'all calling them Democrats, because I know Republicans don't do what Republicans do. But I need y'all calling those Democrats and saying, listen, there is no reason for you to acquiesce. There is no reason for you to decide that you are going to stand with somebody that you told us was a dictator, with somebody that you told us was a threat. So anything that you do by just rolling over is giving him more of that power. So listen. The power belongs to the people. So please, please, please get on those phones, make those calls, and make your voices heard, because they want to tell us stuff like, oh, well, you know, we may lose the next election. You never know what may happen. But I can tell you this. He shut the government down twice, and for some reason, the country decided that he needed to be elected again. He also oversaw over 1 million deaths during the midst of COVID, yet for some reason people saw, listen, you can't worry about the future. You can only worry about the present, and you need to make sure that people understand that right now in this continuing resolution, there are going to be at least a shortage of over 30,000 housing vouchers. 30,000 within the country. Now, consider the fact that people are losing their jobs. I can tell you that it's going to be even more than that. That is based on what we currently have. There's going to be a shortage of 30,000. For everybody that says they love the veterans and that kind of stuff, all the money for burn pit survivors and things like that, guess what? That money, they're cutting that money out. Some of the hardline Republicans decided, you know what, we're going to vote for this because they are zeroing out things. This is not what we call a clean CR. This is not keeping all the levels at the same pace. That's not what it is. So that's what I got for y'all. So here's the deal. So we have
Jasmine Crockett has become a face for some people of the movement, and she's been making a lot of content around it. Trump taking over or whatever. All right, this is the lady I was trying to get to. This lady goes by the name Jiggy, Jiggy, and she works in a bank, okay? And she's about what you would expect from an average Southern Trump supporter who works in a bank. But this is her claim. Now, you guys tell me if I'm off base, okay? You tell me. She claims that she works in a bank and she was talking to the person who cleans their bank, owns a cleaning company. And the person who cleans the bank, something was messed up. And they're like, oh, well, it's so hard to find people that want to work anymore. And she's like, yeah, I know, blah, 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 whatever. Her claim is that the person who runs the cleaning company told her the reason they can't find people to work is because the earned income tax credit is scaled, okay? To get the earned income tax credit when you apply, it goes from like zero, basically $1, all the way to $55,000. And the claim is that the highest percentage you can get is like from like 17 to like 25, or the numbers don't matter, but to get the maximum earned income tax credit of $7,000 or something like that is between like $17,250 to like $22,250. And that people are watching their wages. Like this is a mass. I'm sure somebody's done this before. Somebody's done just about anything. But there's a group of people. This is a mass issue that these people wait until they make exactly $17,250, and then they quit their job to max out their tax refunds. I've never heard anybody mention this ever before. Maybe I'm out of touch, but this does not sound like something that's going on for a large group of people.
April 15th, are you getting a refund or do you owe taxes? Let's talk about that just a little bit. So let's talk about tax season April 15th and getting refunds. In the industry that I work in, we see huge tax refund deposits. And I mean, we really did during COVID. It was crazy, some of those numbers. But we still do see some of those numbers, and you know that the math just ain't mathing at all on them. But I learned something over the last couple of days that I wasn't aware of. And I guess because, number one, where I work and in my team, I have no turnover. Even though I have entry-level positions that work for me, and there's usually there's a huge amount of turnover in that position. Number one, it's the entry-level position. There's a lot of progression growth within the organization that comes from that position, just normal attrition. I don't see that in my branch. So I had not thought of this or whatever. I do sympathize with a lot of the other branches that have a large amount of turnover, and then in other industries that have a large amount of turnover. But I was talking to someone that is in the cleaning industry, the janitorial industry, and we were talking about, how they have to stay on them to do a good job and that kind of stuff. And I'm sympathetic. I mean, I manage that I need what I'm paying for and making sure that I'm receiving the services that I pay for, but I'm sympathetic to knowing that that is an entry-level position and it's hard to hire for. So I give grace where I know that the leadership of that organization is still handling the problem, and coaching and all of that to make sure that I do receive the services that I pay for. But this person shared something with me, young guy too, gave me a whole nother perspective on it. I mean, I know that there are people that don't want to work, there's no work ethic and that kind of stuff, but I had not even thought of this. But again, the freebies that we give out it is so embedded in all the problems that we have. And we were talking about this, and he was telling me that he can't keep people in that position because they know how much they need to work that year to make that specific dollar amount that they need in order to get the maximum earned income credit based on themselves and their dependents. Because you have to make a certain amount of income to get the earned income credit, which is free money, in addition to child tax credits, daycare, that kind of stuff. But you have to you can make a certain amount, and there's like the highest amount you can make based on your...
I did your work for you. I knew you wouldn't believe it when I sent it to you. The fact that we are unable to provide basic necessities of life, including basic food, groceries, and consumer goods to local people, is a serious political problem that our party and government cannot ignore today. From KCNA. You'll have to translate it.
dependents to get some, and then there's like that sweet spot number that if you make just that, you're going to get the maximum amount of the earned income credit for the number of dependents that you have. And he said that they have to deal with turnover and hiring people for those positions because those people know how to manipulate that. And I did not realize that was as broad scale as it is. And then now I'm thinking of this one industry that this person shared this with me. And then you look at all the industries around. Oh my God. That is the culture that is embedded in.
I don't know if you got it. It tells me they removed my link. I don't know if you got it, but I sent it to you in a whisper too.
What we've created. We have created this freebie monster that now they know how to manipulate the system, which then...
A freebie monster. It's a freebie monster that these people know how to manipulate the system. Ooga booga. That's right. That they work just enough to get the which would be like, again, between like 17,000, like 22,000. And they're like, fuck you, I'm quitting. I'm getting the maximum earned income tax credit. Do you think this is a widespread problem?
Affects so much else. It affects all of...
And no one's heard about it?
Industries, all of the jobs, that then affects customer service and the goods and services that those businesses...
Have you ever heard somebody that you know that like owns a small business and they're like, man, I can't keep workers because as soon as they make $17,280, they all quit?
Provide it's just a huge snowball effect because those people know how to manipulate the system enough to get the maximum amount of an earned income tax credit for that big old tax refund by April 15th. Did y'all know that? Had anyone ever like shared?
He's basically at his party's meeting chastising them. Like if Trump went to the Republicans and was like, you guys need to do this. It's embarrassing that we can't afford this and there's no food. He's chastising his own party and saying, you guys need to step up. We've got food shortages. We're unable to provide basic necessities of life, food, groceries, consumer goods.
That with y'all? Do y'all do taxes and know that?
The rest of the year, they just don't work and they wait until income tax come.
I didn't. And I call myself, understanding about turnover and the work ethic of
the way it works is like the maximum is from like, let's say 17,000, 22,000. If you make slightly below that, it's tapered off. So if the maximum is 55,000 and you make $54,999, then you might get like fucking $3 or something, or 20 cents or whatever. It's tapered, but there's a range in there where you get the maximum amount.
This generation, all that, I didn't know that one. So if y'all did...
So I asked, that's what I was thinking about, CA Crafter. I asked some people that I know that do taxes. Have you ever had someone come in and say, like, how much did you make last year? And they're like, oh, I made sure not to make over $22,530 because, like, or something like that. And they said they've never seen it.
Share with me let me know that y'all...
Which I was only able to talk to 3 people, and one person hasn't done taxes in years. So really 2 people that are still doing it.
I'm so dumbfounded. I'm stumbling over my words on it. So share with me what you know about it. Thank y'all.
But you don't. If we're assuming these people are, if we assume they're minimum wage workers, then it's going to take all year just for them to make 17,000. And I think that's why that's the low end target. At $10 an hour, you have to work 42 and a half weeks to make $17,000 an hour, or $17,000. At $15 an hour, you would have to work. So that's making $1,600 a week. You'd have to work 30 weeks. It doesn't even work on the lower scale. Like at minimum wage, you have to work over a year at 40-hour week. At $10 an hour, you have to work a year. At $15 an hour, you'd have to work 30 weeks. So these people are making $15 an hour, and at 30 weeks, they're quitting to make another like $3,000. I don't understand how they're making it up. The math doesn't. They may be confused, I guess, but the math doesn't work. They would have made a lot more money if they'd have stayed there. If they're making $15 an hour, if they're making less than $15 an hour, they have to work all year anyways, just to get to the maximum bracket. I don't know. I went through some of her other videos. Jiggy, 1968. Somebody said she's a big Will Smith fan. I saw that. Doge. I'm glad Doge is cleaning all this up.
So I picked this comment to reply to because I had several, kind of similar, but this one was the most generic, but it's kind of laughable because all the prices under Biden for the last 4
Well, it maxes out at 3 kids, I think.
years. You worried about the prices under Trump?
I don't know. I better look that up before I say that.
It's not even quite 2 months. Yet you don't see any issue with what was going on the previous 4 years. So that's hilarious to me. But the higher prices that are happening, whatever. They're no different than what they were. He's working on fixing it. And y'all just don't like how he's working on it. So we don't care. The stock market doing what it's doing, whatever.
Yeah, maxes out at 3 kids for $7,000.
It is what it is. It ain't been no better the last 4 years. I tracked my 401k for the last 4 years and the previous 4 years under Trump. And my rate of return under Trump, 10 plus. Under Biden, negative for the last 4 years. So,
oh my goodness. Negative for 4 years. What about now, currently?
The stock market. That's it, got ebbs and flows, whatever. But y'all can't sit here and talk.
She's like a manager at a bank, from what I can gather from her videos.
About Trump with higher prices and stuff when y'all didn't care what was going on under Biden. So I appreciate the comment though, and your comment let me, kind of generically go ahead and respond to everybody else. But I'm gonna go ahead and say again, yes, I'm still happy with everything that Trump is doing. Tariffs, higher prices, the stock market, loving.
Bring back the old Will. If you knew the old Will, you would absolutely know that I fucking hate when people tell me what to do.
That he's arresting all those folks, all those protesters. They think they're going to get to act the way they want to. No. So I'm still 1,000,000% happy with everything that he's doing. it is what it is. So what's going on with this protest tells you a lot about what
Green cards are a privilege, not a right.
the new normal is for our country. And it's sad that, apparently that student from Columbia University that, is detained or whatever.
So someone says, so you don't believe in freedom of speech? Since when is protesting a crime? Isn't that what makes our country great? Being able to stand up for what you believe in? They went into a private building. They were asked to leave and they didn't. That's not legal. Where? Show me. Then the person responds kind of like the U.S. Capitol.
Because he was starting all the riots and all that, and then now we got protesters in front of Trump Tower and they're busting them out of there. Hallelujah. But just to hear all this nonsense and to hear that everybody on that side thinks that it was okay for him to do that and that's the new normal in our country. That is sad.
I think that I've met some really dumb people that I think I could talk into quitting. Like, you should just quit. You'll get better earned income tax. I just don't think the math adds up. I think if you kept your job, you would have made way more. That you can't be minimum wage. You can't be $10 an hour and never make it. I think I could convince somebody minimum wage with that. Like, if you quit now, you'll get the maximum tax credit, and they'd fucking quit on a dime. I've met some really stupid people. I just don't think the math works that this is something people are doing.
I mean, we grew up in an education.
Yeah, as far as I know, he's got a hearing coming up, but he's still in custody.
Education system where we were taught that getting a green card and all of that is a privilege. It is not a right. So you don't get to come over here and act a fool without consequences. I mean, it is a sad day in America. I mean, it's been some sad days, but for the thought...
There was some type of procedural hearing today. Was that today or was that yesterday?
Of this being the new normal to those folks that are acting that way. That's what's sad. What's happy about it is Trump busting their tails out of there. So yeah, because before those folks would have been able to sit there.
She does sound like Rita Big Thumbs.
Protest, paint, create a mural, make it like BLM Plaza, the whole 9 yards. That's the new normal that you think you can.
We've always been allowed to protest, lady.
You can act the way you're going to act, and you going to get on out of here, too. So what y'all think about that? So what's going on with this protest?
Wow. The negative comments about Trump.
Oh, no. I'm devastated.
This woman was suggested to me.
You ready to sleep like a baby? That's all over our FYP. So I wanted to ask you that because I wanted to tell you about my lullaby.
Oh, God.
Is your hair falling out?
She's selling shit.
This will be real quick. I keep seeing this all over my FYP. People saying, whatever you're doing here on TikTok, be yourself. I'm going to be myself. How about y'all? Y'all have a good day. Did y'all see Trump's new ride? Ooh, I love that color. It was smoking. He bought the vehicle because he don't get nothing.
Sorry, hombre. I'm trying my best.
Nothing free. He don't even take his salary. We know that. So yeah, he
Sometimes I come across as German, but not usually.
bought him a Tesla. I wouldn't buy a Tesla, but I rode in a couple in New York. I thought they were super cool. I sat there and watched the computers and everything. I thought it was cool.
By the way, those calculations I was doing earlier were a 40-hour week every week, missing no time, no nothing. So it's even worse if you take like unpaid holidays, probably at a minimum wage job, or sick days without being paid or whatever.
It's not for me. But yeah, I thought that was cool that he bought a Tesla and he got in and he looked so good in it. And he said he was going to let other people, his staffers and stuff, drive it and everything. So I thought that was cool. But what was funny is that just 6 months ago, I mean, Elon Musk was the Dems' favorite.
Wait, don't Don't ban Hombre. I was joking. I don't think he was talking about me. I think I'll unban him. I don't think he was talking about me. I think he was talking about her. I was just joking. See what you guys did now.
He was like, you know, the youngest child of the family. He couldn't do anything wrong. And now, you know, 6 months ago,
I want a Tesla.
preceding that, the whole Dems and Biden were pushing Teslas down our throat. I mean, I live in a small town. I mean, like super small, work in a super small town. And they have...
We can tell. We can tell. I bet you it is at least 96% Caucasian.
The charging stations here, and I even said when I saw them, well, what are those for? I didn't even know we had any of those vehicles here in town. But I mean, you know, those businesses make money to have them even if they don't use them because green stuff. So they're probably getting money from the government, but whatever. But yeah, so previous to 6 months ago, they wanted us to have these Teslas, and now they're trashing them. They're trashing the dealerships. It's just the craziest thing to me. Republicans didn't do that stuff. I don't care what y'all say. We didn't do that stuff. We didn't even do what y'all said we did, you know, after the election or whatever, but...
Well, then who did it?
That y'all say that was bad, and what y'all are doing with stuff at the dealership and vandalizing stuff ain't bad. But, yeah, some crazy stuff that now they done booted out the youngest child in the family that's usually the favorite.
I don't condone doing that type of stuff, right? I can't publicly condone that. It is vandalism. It's illegal. But I think there's a difference between vandalizing a car at a dealership and trying to overthrow the certification of the election of the President of the United States. Maybe.
Elon, I'm sorry. We'll adopt you. We're going to take you in, okay? Y'all have a good day. Did y'all see Trump's new ride? Ooh, I love that color. Department of Education Progress Report.
Oh, God.
Sounds like she's doing a fabulous job just a few weeks in. I mean, you know that Secretary of the Department of Education, she was put in that position knowing what her job is, and bless her for it. She knows that her job is to eliminate her job. And so I saw the latest statistics out that she's already taken care of 1,300 of those positions because they don't need to be in our business. Our education needs to be handled by the state. So she's already taken care of 1,300 of those positions. Bless those people. I'm sorry they got caught up in that. This is not about digging on those people. I'm so sorry for those people.
I did not show it. During Hurricane Helene, there was a Tesla that caught fire, a Model X down in Florida that caught fire when their garage flooded. They said it wasn't plugged in and charging. I don't know if they ever figured out what caused it. It basically set their whole house on fire. Once those batteries, they're making them better to where it's harder to get them to burn. But once they start burning, it's pretty hard to put it out.
But this is not what's good for the country. This Department of Education, where the government bothers us, needs to be pushed down to the state. And if they do that, if the state ends up handling this, there's going to be more jobs in the state. So there's going to be some, positions opening up there that they can apply for if they're qualified. If they didn't get them because of DEI, then okay, there you go. But 2,100 positions left.
DEI jobs.
Some good statistics, good results for a progress report. When you're in school, we're talking about Department of Education, you get a progress report. So if it's like a 12-week period, you get a report card at the end of that. You usually get one like at 6 weeks. We're not but a few weeks in, and she's already getting a good progress report. What y'all think about that?
What, you giving it to her? Are you grading her?
April 15th. Are you getting a refund? Or do you owe taxes? Let's talk about that just a little bit.
Is this the one we already watched?
Talk about tax And I mean, we really did during COVID. It was, it was crazy.
Yeah, I think so.
There's a.
Now she's selling more stuff.
Hey guys, literally guys. All right, guys. Let's talk about the drip. I've shared with y'all this before.
Let's talk about the drip.
I got this compression sleeve for my grandson, Cole.
That's the drip.
Hey, guys.
She got him a glazed donut.
You see the wind blowing in my hair? What happened to Go Green and the Green New Deal? I mean, for the last 4 years and the years before Trump, before that, they were pushing all the green stuff on us. You get all these tax credits and everything for energy efficient stuff and buying all these, Tesla type cars.
What happened to you'll never catch me in an electric vehicle? It's a bunch of pussies driving it. Oh my God, Trump's got a Tesla. You see how good he looked in it?
Yeah, for the last 4 years, they were shoving Tesla down our throat because of the Green New Deal. But obviously, there's probably going to be a lot of Doge findings in that when they get to it, because Trump buys a Tesla and they lose their...
Miss Doubtfire.
I mean, so Go Green, Green New Deal.
Oh, that's what I'm going to leave. Glad I found this channel. I love to support trans content creators. That is a square jaw if I ever saw one.
Trump buys a Tesla, no more green. What's next? Are they going to stop breathing air if he says that oxygen is good for you?
Unless he wants us to inject it in our veins, who knows?
Oh my God. What happened? Can you feel it? I wish you could feel it. This beautiful sunshine in middle Georgia, it's amazing. I mean, if you watch me, you got to be able to almost feel the warmth from this sunshine. I know I hated the switch from daylight savings time, whatever, to now. I made my video not complaining about daylight savings time. I'm not saying I don't like daylight savings time. I hate that we have to switch. We should have never switched in the fall that made us have to switch this time. Because I'm an adult, and I mean, overcoming that hour I lost is tough on me. I feel super bad for all the mommies out there and daddies with the small children. But today, for me, kind of makes me okay with that hour. I mean, I've kind of made up a little bit of it. But
Teslas.
Just feel this warmth that you see on my skin. It's amazing. Can you feel it?
He literally said we're unable to provide basic necessities. You can spin it all you want, but he literally said we're unable to provide basic necessities. Well, I think what he really means is they want better quality. No, he said they can't provide basic necessities. Why do you think every news agency wrote about it? You come in here and say we're reading propaganda all the time, but you get it straight from the source, and you're like, I don't know, that's what he said. I think what he really meant was, got it. I don't know. She doesn't really have a whole lot of followers. It was suggested to me. Her channel was suggested to me, but it is what it is. This is Asheville, North Carolina.
Detail 5 things you've done this week to protect our democracy.
Oh, they told Republicans to stop doing these town halls or pre-screen the questions or do them virtual, right, where you cut somebody's mic.
I'll be happy to do that. Let me see how quick I can do it. I participated in a 2-hour classified briefing with a military outfit that is charged with creating the equivalent of an Iron Dome in a region that we are very interested in. I helped pass a continuing resolution that funded our military, gave raises to our...
Look, if they will pay me to protest, I'm your guy.
Military, kept our government running, including all the federal agencies that you're concerned with. I met with probably a dozen different media outlets and told them why I was going to be here with you here today. I am here with you today. I could go on more and more, but coming up with 5 things is...
Wait, was that even 5?
Going to be here with you here today. I am here with you today. I could go on
maybe a reach,
more, but coming up with 5 things is not real difficult.
Questions. So, what was that question? I've lost track. What was that question?
That question was, are you willing to fire 25% of your staff like he's doing to others?
Yeah. Well, I'll answer that directly. I've got a staff of about 15 that are working their butts off on your behalf every single day. So, no, I don't.
Well, everybody else thinks they're working their butts off and their staff are.
Intend for them to go anywhere.
And literally that would just be 3 people. Right? That'd be 3 people.
And without them, we would not have been able to address the recovery of Hurricane Helene like we have.
Why do you support a president that cares nothing about NATO?
By the way, it does seem like they made them write their questions down. They're not passing a mic anymore. They're not getting in a debate.
And democracy, but cares about Putin and other dictators.
These look like fucking paid protesters. Because he can walk away and tell the Republicans he did a good job standing up to those paid liberal lunatics, blah, blah, blah. These people will never vote for him.
Actually, I believe that the president is very supportive of Ukraine.
What? I need to start going to these, don't I? I need to start going to these. Damn it. They blurred the whole image because he's flipping him off.
I believe the president recognizes that Putin is a murderous dictator.
Dude, he sucks his dick, bro. We've been through a lot together. You guys remember they like to call it Russia, Russia, Russia. You've heard of it. That's all you want to talk about. We've been through a lot together.
I think just yesterday he told the world that he believes that we need to increase our sanctions against Russia and probably enforce the ones that are...
In fact, the people that advise him are coming out and talking about softening sanctions.
Already in place.
Jesus Christ. We might want to watch that full one on a different day. I talked about this earlier. Portugal cancels F-35.
Seems like Portugal may have canceled their procurement of the F-35, at least.
This is worse for us, okay? Think about it. It's always cheaper to buy or build or manufacture in bulk, okay? To keep, this is the same thing with oil. When oil prices bottom out, it may help us right now, but it fucks us in the long term because refineries shut down, wells shut down in the U.S., right? We're still getting cheap-ass oil from overseas. Let's say the prices drop. It's not feasible to produce in the United States, so when oil prices go back up, it takes literally years to bring these plants back online. So if you have the F-35 being pumped out on an assembly line, not only do we get all the data from them now, right? Same thing with the Patriot missiles or anything else we're using, our air defense stuff. We get all the data, all the flight hours, all that stuff's being reported back to us so we can make a better product. But it's cheaper to make them, the more we make in bulk, and it keeps the plants open and Americans working, okay? And allies want these. Allies want these. Why would allies turn them down? They literally cite political turmoil. Because if you buy 10 F-35s, right, that's a pretty penny. And you want to keep them in the air, you want to fly them, you want to use them for your military. Then you go back to get the bolts. A bolt broke or a maintenance item, or you have to send an engine in. And President Trump has now decided he's got a tariff against you and he doesn't like this guy. And you said you did like this guy back in 1993. So now he's got a bone to pick with you. You've got fucking lawn ornaments, billions of dollars in lawn ornaments. It's not worth having to deal with Trump like he's a fucking toddler.
It seems like Portugal may have canceled their procurement of the F-35, at least according to what the aviationist says. And it seems like they did so citing current U.S. political uncertainty.
The minister pointed directly at the uncertainty surrounding the Trump administration as a key factor in this decision. Trump's controversial remarks about NATO, questioning member contributions, and even suggesting the U.S. might not uphold its defense commitments, as well as the decision to halt the deliveries of weapons, as well as sharing of intelligence with Ukraine following the meeting with Zelensky at the White House, have raised the alarms across Europe. Let me tell you the greatest thing NATO has ever done. It's not helping us at 9/11. It's not, even though it's great, like being there if another country's attacked and you're a member of NATO. The greatest thing that NATO's ever fucking done is I can take a round from the United States military and go to any other fucking NATO country and load that round in their firearms. That I can ship, that I can grab a fuel container, it's the same. That radio parts are the same. That they all got part numbers. We've never, in the history of the world, got so many countries to standardize equipment and make sure it works all around the world with all of our fucking allies. From ammo to water jugs to radio to engine blocks to everything is standardized. And it's fucking everywhere. So God forbid there is a fucking world war. It won't be fought like World War I and World War II where every country's piecing shit together. You can't use none of their equipment. Their equipment's useless to us. This doesn't work. Everything works together. And everybody knows how to maintain it, knows how to use it, knows how to fight effectively with it. That's insane. The scale of that is fucking insane. That potentially, without Trump here, a world war breaks out, that all of the allies all have standardized fucking equipment, a standardized radio communication, a standardized way to evacuate casualties. Like, this is insane. It was brilliant to think of this beforehand. But fucking Trump's like, I don't know if we would defend them if they were invaded. Have they paid their bills yet? Like that money goes to the United States for some reason. It's their money to spend on their own defense. And why would it fucking, let's say Portugal is only paying 1% of their budget. Do you think if they would have been paying that other the other percentage points, that would stop Russia from fucking bombing the hell out of them? Is that the argument? Because the money doesn't come to us. It's money they spend on their own defense. We're not sending them money for their defense. We're just supposed to spend money on our own defense. I don't know. It's wild. Wild to be anti-NATO.
Now, currently, Portugal flies the F-16. They are older models, and there's really nothing in European inventory that can match the F-35, although the Rafale can come close, at least when it comes to battle management, although it doesn't have the stealth capability. So these are what you call second-order effects. When you threaten our allies, when you threaten to leave NATO or pull out of NATO, countries are going to respond with their pocketbooks. When foreign countries purchase American weapons systems, the weapon systems actually become cheaper for America to purchase themselves because the production lines are still going and the parts production is still going. So this news isn't great if it's true, and I wouldn't be surprised if...
Think about how expensive it is to maintain like a one-of-one collector car, right? Something breaks. And then think of how cheap it is to buy a part for an F-150 comparatively. I know it's crazy that a brake light assembly costs $500 or whatever, but comparatively, right? We want these things out there in people we can trust, right? We don't want to sell them to everybody or countries we may see ourselves fight in the future, but countries that we can trust or we believe we can trust, that we have agreements with, we want these things fucking everywhere.
India was next. It seems like Portugal may have canceled.
India is probably next.
Why multiple aircraft?
India will probably cancel theirs next. Where was the... You guys want to see a racist person being racist? I just thought this meme was funny. Let them buy Teslas. Here you go.
Al Green was given multiple opportunities.
Tell me when she says the racist part out loud. See if you can pinpoint the moments she says the racist part out loud.
Al Green was given multiple opportunities to stand down, to sit down, to behave, to show decorum, and he did not.
While speaking on the Trump propaganda network, Real America's Voice, Representative Lauren Boebert, unlike her performance at the live production of Beetlejuice months ago, gave the audience exactly what they wanted to see and hear by not even trying to hide her racism directed toward her co-worker.
You guys know that Dr. J was part of Lauren Boebert's campaign. She was an advisor for the gaming grannies, whatever the fuck that is, that vote.
Texas Congressman Al Green.
And for him to go and shake his pimp cane at President Trump was...
Did you catch it? Did you catch it?
Unlike her performance at the live production of Beetlejuice months ago, gave the audience exactly what they wanted to see and hear by not even trying to hide her racism directed toward her co-worker, Texas Congressman.
Why would it be a pimp cane? He doesn't have the hat. He doesn't have the suit. He doesn't act like a pimp. He doesn't have a stable full of girls he's working. Why is it a pimp cane?
Congressman Al Green.
And for him to go and shake his pimp cane at President Trump was absolutely abhorrent.
We'd say that launching racist attacks against your colleagues is abhorrent, especially when said colleague is protesting your party's plans to gut Medicaid, one of the most important and literal life-saving social spending programs that millions of Americans depend on for survival, which just so happens to include tens of thousands of your constituents in Colorado, Lauren. But as you should know, this is exactly what we expect.
It gets worse.
Out of Boebert and her ilk.
And we get in the elevator, and I see a Capitol police officer running hurriedly to the elevator. I see fret all over his face, and he's reaching, and I'm like, what? I can't, the door's shutting. Like, I can't open it. Like, what's happening? I look to my left, and there she is, Ilhan Omar.
So a cop was running down the hall trying to catch an elevator. The elevator door's closing. She can't stop it. She's trapped in an elevator with Ilhan Omar. Wonder what's going to come out next.
And I said, well, she doesn't have a backpack. We should be fine.
Well, she doesn't have a backpack. That should be fine.
So we only had one floor to go, and I was like, do I say it or not? I looked over, and I said, oh, look, the Jihad Squad decided to show up for work today.
The Jihad Squad decided to show up for work today.
We have serious issues with a terrorist that is a member of Congress. She praises terrorists, and she married her brother husband, as I pointed out, and then her other husband, she contributed, she gave more than $1 million of campaign funds to. I think there's a couple other bookend husbands that go in there too, and then she wants to call me out on my marriage and my family. But hey, Dan, I just want to make it very clear. At least my family tree forks.
Well, just from this small sampling of her long documented history of using racist stereotypes to attack Democrat colleagues, you can tell she has a deep-seated hatred of anyone who doesn't adhere to her narrow-minded, bigoted worldview, just like this washed-up, hateful clown. Hey guys,
they're all peddling that she married a brother for a green card or some shit.
Quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStrom Also, be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you.
Look at this guy. So he doesn't want to secure, the Democrats don't want to secure the borders. The Democrats want to keep the borders open.
The last month of Joe Biden in deportations were better than Trump's first month.
To welcome in chemical warfare, fentanyl, murder, slaughter of Americans through the Mexican drug cartel government.
Can you tell us about the gamer granny voting block, Dr. J, and how you helped her win that in Colorado?
Kill American citizens, and Al Green is the leader of the Democrat Party, along with Hakeem and the squad.
The laughable claim about progressives running the Democratic Party aside, Ted Nugent went full-blown white supremacist here by spewing great replacement conspiracy talking points while mirroring Boebert's racism on the same network, cynically using green.
I shared this video, and you would be astounded at the number of people who didn't get it.
Bro, these disrespectful Democrats, man, they need to learn some manners. They don't want to stand up. Then when they do, they're heckling the president. I don't know where they get this from. Somebody didn't teach them manners when they were young or something. Where do they get this from? Bro, these disrespectful Democrats, man, they need to learn.
People commented like, you'd think we was watching a bunch of misbehaving middle school kids. I don't think you got it. I think you missed it.
Protest against Trump's assertion that he has a mandate to gut Medicaid, to fearmonger about immigrants, and slyly justify Trump's hardline white natives' attitudes towards immigrants.
The members of the squad are Islamic terrorists doing undercover work in America. Look, these people hate a secure America. That's.
I wonder why he says that. You think it's the shoes they're wearing? You think it's their names? Because some of them have pretty normal American names. Or you think it's their ethnicity?
That's what the squad wants. The squad wants an open board. The squad wants dead Americans. And the Democrat Party, as represented by the squad, they want fentanyl through our open borders. And
MTG.
Murderers and torturers and MS-13 and gangs and mental institution releases into America. That's what the Democrat Party stands for.
Nugent, like far too many of our fellow Americans, is living in a world completely detached from reality, driven by solely fear, bigotry, and a complete false narrative about the current and future states of life in America. But as you know by now, the truth always takes a back seat whenever there's money and power to be gained.
Don Lewis and I were friends, and we talked about this notion of peaceful protest. And a part of it is not just getting in the way, as he put it. You have to get in the way. You have to be disruptive. People are not going to like you, some. But when you do this, you have to also be prepared to suffer the consequences. Mm-hmm. So when I did it, I was prepared to suffer the consequences, and I'm prepared now. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to like the consequences. Mm-hmm. You can be prepared to suffer things that you don't agree with. I don't agree with what happened, but I was prepared to suffer because Medicaid means so much to so many people.
This is what being an elected public servant should be about, not enriching yourself by selling yourself out to corporations and lobbyists working against the material interests of the average voter, or leveraging your power for networking to secure a cushy private sector job once your term is up, but taking a stand and speaking out to defend the interests of the people who elected you to represent them.
1 in every 5 persons with insurance in this country is covered by virtue of Medicaid. Mm-hmm. And
no, there's no update.
If we lose Medicaid, we're going to lose lives. The president, by and through his agents in Congress, has issued a mandate, we passed legislation, to cut $880 billion from the committee that has jurisdiction over Medicaid. You cannot do that. You cannot do that without cutting into Medicaid. And if you do that, you're going to hurt a lot of people that I represent. So I'm standing for them because they can't stand for themselves, understanding that they need this health care. I would do it again. I will suffer the consequences. And if my being evicted can make a difference in the lives of those people who need Medicaid, Social Security, and Medicare, I would do it. The state of Texas.
This is exactly why it was so disappointing to see 10 Democrats cave to their Republican colleagues by voting to censure Representative Green. We need so many more fighters willing to do the bare minimum and bring attention to the real world effects of Donald Trump and Shadow President Elon Musk's gutting of the administrative state, and anyone who doesn't
Elon Musk loses $4.7 billion for every $10 that the Tesla stock goes down.
Recognize the dire situation we're all in, might as well join the Republicans in doing Trump's bidding without question.
Medicaid is needed by people who are not of means. We now live in a government that is of the plutocrats, by the plutocrats, for the plutocrats. They have Medicaid. They have doctors. We have to stand for people who are not as fortunate as others. I have good health care. I want my constituents to have the same health care I have. Many won't have it, but I'm going to protect what they do have. We've got to take a stand against what this president is doing with his incivility. We are going to have to demonstrate. We're going to have to protest. I don't want us to have to harken back to the 60s, but we are being treated as though we are in the 60s. We have to do more than simply say that we want legislation. We've got to demonstrate, and we've got to protest and be prepared to suffer the consequences.
In a world full of Donald Trumps, Lauren Boeberts, Ted Nugents, and Elon Musks, be more like Representative from Texas, Al Green. If you can and are willing, please become a
shout out to Al Green for standing up.
Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Let's check out. Oh, I told you I would do Charlie Kirk, right? I forgot about it, didn't I? Parker challenges Charlie Kirk to do the Elon hand signal. I think this might be it.
Hey everyone, I'm at California State University Northridge, and there's supposed to be a Turning Point event today where Charlie Kirk is going to debate some college students. And seemingly, it's a good day to show up since I live in LA, and he's been dodging debating me and Dean since he said he would debate us after the Jubilee episode and after the election. And now he's gone radio silent and won't debate us. So I decided to show up to one of his events. So can't wait to debate him today. Good luck, Charlie. Follow some people with red.
They have messages from his manager saying like he'd be more than happy. He never turns down a debate. He'll debate you anytime, any day, as soon as the election's over. Then they said, well, as soon as his Jubilee appearance is over. Then they said that then they just quit answering them altogether.
Red shirts. We think that they might be from Turning Point, so we're gonna go follow them and see. Jackpot. We found him. We found him. We found him. Oh my god, dude. Overwhelming cringe. The last thing that I needed was to be the first person in line, so when Charlie got there, he knew that I was there waiting for him. Luckily, the people there working for him had no clue who I was, so I easily got it in and got first in the line.
So you can hang out right here?
All right, for sure.
This is where you'll be able to ask questions and stuff.
All right, he'll be super excited to see me first.
It'll be awesome. Okay.
While we were waiting, all these people showed up behind us that were ready to watch me destroy Charlie in this debate.
We're like trying to get the WNBC cover, so I have to see her.
Dude, oh my.
God, that's a painful smile, dude. You want a hat? Why does he have hat girls following him around? Like he's a fucking rock star, dude. A few days ago, earlier this week. He does the thing where he goes and studies on topics for like a fucking month and destroys college kids like Steven Crowder does.
All right, we have a familiar face. You go to school here, Parker? No, I don't. You know, where do you go to school? I don't go to school anymore. I graduated. So you traveled from where to be here? From Los Angeles. Okay, welcome. We have a familiar face from Jubilee. Parker, welcome, and the mic is yours. Do you think that Elon was like saluting or doing a Nazi salute? Well, you didn't.
Here we go. Do you support Elon doing the Nazi salute?
Jubilee, Parker, welcome, and the mic is yours.
Do you think he does it? Do you think he does it?
Do you think that Elon was like saluting or doing a Nazi salute? Well, you didn't say hello, man. Oh, sorry. Hello, how are you doing? I'm doing great, Parker. How are you? No, Elon Musk was not doing the Nazi salute. Okay, will you do it? Yes, as I did it actually at USC. I said, my name was Elon Musk, and I love all of you in this crowd here.
Is that what Elon did? Is that what he did? Is that the move? Is that the one? Fucking pussies, dude.
I just did it. That's not what he did. Okay, so let's do it again, Parker. Can you do it with me? Yeah. Let's do it. Can you get the Nazi salute? Well, mirror with me. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad from the bottom of my heart you are here, and thank you all for being.
If he didn't do it, why do they do this? If he didn't, I've seen the retards do it and then get fired from their jobs on while they do it on TikTok. But if he didn't do it, why don't they do exactly what he did? I'm Elon Musk, and this is from the bottom of my heart. Like, why don't they do exactly what he did?
Here today. Hey, do you want me to show you a video of this doing it? Parker, you're not dumb. You traveled all the way from LA to ask.
I've seen that. He's also, his lawyers are trying very, very, very hard to get the birthright citizenship stuff in front of the Supreme Court. They're trying so hard that it makes me nervous that he knows how they're going to rule. Like they're pulling every trick out of the book to get the Supreme Court to hear the birthright citizenship case.
That question.
That's not the question. I can ask you another thing.
No, we only get like one other question because we got a long line, but okay.
Do you think slavery at all points in history was wrong?
You asked the same question at Jubilee, but yes, you did actually. So what is my answer?
Well, you'd have to say yes, because in Leviticus 25, 44 through 46, God says you can own people as slaves and pass them down to your children as inherited property for life.
Okay,
in Exodus
the Bible explicitly condones slavery. It only says that you shouldn't take other Israelites as slaves.
21, 22, 21, God says you can beat those slaves so far as they recover after a day or two.
So let's talk. We want to talk about chattel slavery versus what it actually. So what is the word slave in Hebrew?
I don't know.
It's eved, right? Or one of my Jewish friends in the audience probably like, yeah. Am I right? Is it eved in Hebrew? Yeah. Right? So what the Torah did was the first ever historical document that led to the abolition of slavery. Do you know that slaves were actually mentioned in the Ten Commandments?
You want to respond to those two verses that I just mentioned?
Well, yes, and by the way, do you know in the New Testament, which is the completion of the entire Bible, slavery is explicitly said as evil and immoral. So we have to
okay though.
So how can it be? But how could it be? Even if that were true, how could it be both? Right? How could you be telling people like this is how you have your slaves? Slaves obey their masters. You just can't take our own people into slavery, but you're fine to have foreign slaves. But slavery is also condemned by God. It's evil and immoral.
Back then, with the Old Testament, was it okay back then?
Well, we need to understand in the Levitical law, right, that it was not that it was condoning slavery, right? It was making the steps forward towards the abolition of slavery, which you can even acknowledge that Christianity helped abolish slavery, right? You know who Wilbur Wilberforce is? William Wilberforce?
21, 21.
Who is
God says you shall not be punished. Hold on. Eat them so far as they recover after a day or two. Hold on. You're saying that they shall not be punished after that?
You'll look it up. It's a wartime power, but the Wartime Powers Act actually limits Congress. What you want to look up is the Alien Enemies Act. The Alien Enemies Act. It is wartime authority that allows the president to detain or deport the natives and citizens of an enemy nation. And he can just declare other nations enemy nations, right? The law permits the president to target those immigrants without a hearing and based only on their country of birth or citizenship. So whether you were born there or you're a citizen there, although the law was enacted to prevent foreign espionage and sabotage in wartime, it can be and has been wielded against immigrants who have done nothing wrong, have evidenced no signs of disloyalty, and are lawfully present in the United States. It is an overbroad authority that may violate constitutional rights in wartime and is subject to abuse in peacetime. It's the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. It was used in the War of 1812, World War I, and World War II. What was the book? There's a book that I guess basically everybody was able to read or was like made to read, at least my age, about a Japanese kid that gets sent to an internment camp. You guys know what I'm talking about? And he liked baseball or something. That book was fucking terrifying. Let me see if I can find it. That says A Boy of Heart Mountain, but that doesn't sound right. But I don't even know if I would remember the name of it. I feel like maybe if I saw the cover of it, maybe. It starts out at his house, and then people show up and throw him out of his fucking house, and there you go. I want to say that I would remember the cover, and maybe not even that. We had a program called AR. I might have just read it through that as well. I can't remember. Yeah, I don't see it, but I remember reading it. And I think it had to do with like his love for baseball. There's one that's called Baseball Saved Us, which sounds like it would be it, but I don't know that is. Anyways, he can basically he can say that such and such is the enemy of our of the United States, and then he'll try to he can deport people or put people into internment camps, as has been used before, and that's usually fighting age men, so that'd be 14 and up. That's where they get the 14 and up from. It's been used before. Like I said, it was World War I, World War II, the War of 1812. Detainers, expulsions, and restrictions targeting German, Austro-Hungarian, Japanese, and Italian immigrants based solely on their ancestry. This is the law that was used for the Japanese internment camps, and it's still on the books, and there's not much of a restriction to it. So I think what we're seeing is just how fragile the system is, and then this was always a thing that could happen, right? This is always a thing that could happen. It just seems like we finally got someone that's going to push it to its limits before it breaks, or after it breaks, or when it breaks, or whatever's going to happen. There's a quote in a movie that I like, The Gladiator, where the Caesar is talking about the guy that dies at the very first Gladiator. He's talking about this idea that is so fragile it could only be whispered about, because just the mere mention of its name in front of the right people and it would disappear. So again, we're only all living by the rules because everybody else is playing by the rules. When someone comes in and says, fuck the rules, we don't know where to go. Like, if Trump says, fuck the court, I'm doing it anyways, and then orders people loyal to him to do it, this is why his cabinet picks were so important, and firing employees and rehiring loyal employees is so important. If he says, fuck the court, what are they going to do? I think it was Jackson that said, the Supreme Court has made their ruling. Now tell the Chief Justice to bring his army and come enforce it. What happens now? And there we go. I don't know. Either way, guys, I'm out. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here. I think it's very telling that none of them will do the salute. My heart goes out to all of you guys. They'll do anything to not do the salute. Spirit fingers and all. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for being here. I'm headed to the house to get some rest. I'm still sore as fuck. But thank you guys for joining us. I'm going to go get some rest, get something to eat. You guys have a good night. Support the show while we're offline at coldbeer.fund. I'm out of here. We'll see ya on the next one.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are.
Like, most people can't even tell you. Like, let's say
you don't have the balls.
That the Supreme Court rules on something, and Trump does it anyways, and we all know he did it. What's the next logical step? Especially if Congress won't help us, right? The Department of Defense is all under his command. What is the next step? You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic. And I think we'll probably find out some of those things, especially the way they're talking about judges. Elon Musk has been on a tirade for weeks about impeaching these judges who make rulings against Trump. How does that not take away from the impartiality of the judicial system? Right? You're gonna impeach the judges that you call liberal because they don't follow Trump's orders, but they're not supposed to. They're supposed to check Trump's orders.
What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk, a retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers, cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think it started some shit. ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped it to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine, with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa, wait. Stop. What? I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. This is my mom's an alcoholic. Oh, give me a... Oh, my God. Damn it. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss them off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up.
Oh, yeah, the blood moon thing. Is that tonight? Well, it's happening right now then, isn't it? I think my time to see it was from like 1 to 3 or something. I'll go look. Have a good night, guys.
We ain't seen none yet. Round 3. Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are getting rocking. He was doing so well. It's all over. Hands on his shoulders. They ringing his bell. You got Frog News Network doing no damn research. They rework and copy on cocks that came first. 9th inning, 2nd string, and they acting like they know hitters. Assholes throwing bullshit, sending runs to the shitter. All this nonsense on my conscience. It's hard to sleep at night.